Kamar Taj, Kathmandu, Nepal, June 9, 2012. A full month had now passed since I first started my training, and in that time I had greatly increased my theoretical knowledge of the mystic arts, making full use of the massive collection of books within the library of Kamar Taj. By this point the librarian had finally gotten used to having me show up every few days, looking for something new to read after having finished yet another stack of books. By this point my form was perfect, every gesture precise, as I flowed through the stances with my fellow novices, the familiar tingling warmth of eldritch energy pulsing within my arms with every beat of my heart. And yet, I still hadn't managed to evoke more than a few angry sparks of eldritch energy during our morning practice. It was my 1-month anniversary, but to Baron Mordo and Master Hammer it was just another morning spent exposed to the elements on the rooftop courtyard of Kamar Taj, watching over the latest batch of novices in the hope that some of us would show enough promise to don the crimson robes of an apprentice. Once again Master Hammer stood with his back against the nearby tower, while Baron Mordo walked amongst us, making the occasional correction. Again. Baron Mordo commanded. We made our way through the beginner's stance once more, a growing number of us managing to evoke the simple bisected circle mandala, breaking the vertical line at the end of the stance to complete the simple spell. Once more, all I had to show for my efforts was a shower of sparks trailing behind my hands, in spite of the energy I could feel flowing through my body. Baron Mordo's dark gaze settled on me for a few moments, his jaw twitching as he refrained from commenting on my lack of progress, a soft sigh escaping as he turned to make his way back to the front of our formation. Realizing the tension that had built within my shoulders, I closed my eyes and focused on my breathing, relaxing the control I held over the energies flowing through my body as I worked to center myself. The warm tingle of eldritch energy that had been raging within me began slowly calm down with every breath I took of the cool morning air, easing its way from the rigid paths I had copied from the diagrams I had studied. Without my guidance the energy began flow through like water, what had once been a single river breaking apart into an innumerable number of streams, each one finding its own way through my body as they separated and recombined without any form of rhyme nor reason. I could feel the tingling path that it was now taking through my body, but the warmth that had been building since that first morning no longer felt as if it was trying to burn me. I was only vaguely aware of Baron Mordo's command as I went through the motions once again with my eyes still closed, the glow of the morning sun painting the inside of my eyelids orange. Hearing the familiar sizzling sound as my fellow novices completed their own mandalas, I finally opened my eyes as I prepared to make the punch that was supposed to break the vertical line that should have formed, already anticipating my own failure. My hand froze before I was able to complete my strike, as I stared at the glowing lines of eldritch energy hanging in the air in front of me. Catching movement in the corner of my eye, I looked over to see Baron Mordo standing a few feet away, his dark eyes reflecting the light of my very first mandala as he examined it. There was a long moment of silence as the mandala slowly faded away now that I was no longer actively channeling energy into it, and he turned to pin me with his gaze once it had faded completely. Again, he commanded me. Giving myself into the flow of the energy once more, I repeated my previous actions, the glowing lines of eldritch energy forming in the air once more, only to shatter upon my fist as I completed the spell. Relief flooded me as I realized that I had finally completed my first actual spell, and now I had tangible proof that all of the time I had spent studying had not been in vain. What was ironic is that, even though I should have known better, I had fallen into the same trap that Doctor Strange would in a few years. I was so caught up in all of the words and diagrams, that I had forgotten the lesson that the Ancient One had given him, when he had failed the same way I had. You cannot beat a river into submission, I reminded to myself. You have to surrender to its current, and use its power as your own. I had finally cleared the largest obstacle preventing me becoming a master of the mystic arts, and I felt as if I had been relieved of a massive burden. Now that I had surrendered to its current, merely guiding the energy as it flowed through my body, instead of trying to force it under my control, I found myself forming mandala after mandala under the watchful gaze of Baron Mordo and Master Hammer. I couldn't help but think about the family that I had left behind when I came here seeking the mystic arts, and how much our future safety relied upon what I was going to learn here. I had managed to banish the nightmares that had haunted me during my first few weeks here after countless hours of meditation, but I could do nothing for the memories of them that remained. Once the morning practice was complete I made my way back to my room and grabbed my cell phone to check my email, seeking comfort in what little contact I had allowed myself to have with my family while the threat of my trigger sense still loomed over my head. To Laura Kinney. From Sarah Kinney. Subject, Studies and Research. Hi, Laura. How are your studies going? You mentioned something in your email last week about having some difficulties in one of your classes. I know you said that the people teaching you are masters, but if there is anything I can do to help you, just let me know, okay? Your sisters are having a great time training with Natasha at the new place they've set us up at, which has left me with a lot of free time and not much to do now that we're no longer stuck at the facility. Thankfully they've decided to set up a lab for me here so that I can find out more about what they did to you and your sisters. We already know about the trigger scent, but who knows what else they might have done that they didn't want us to know about. Maybe we can figure out what they did to give your sisters their healing factor. There is a lot of information to go through, so I don't expect that I'm going to find any of the answers to our questions anytime soon. You keep up the good work on your side, and make sure to let us know how you're doing, okay? Love ya. Mom. I rolled over in bed onto my stomach, kicking my feet up into the air as I started to type out my response to Mom's email, before moving on to the emails I had gotten from Belle and Natasha. My success in today's morning practice had put me in a really good mood, and finding out that my mom had access to all of the research notes from the facility and was looking into how they copied my healing factor was icing on an otherwise already awesome cake. The fact that my sisters were having a great time getting training from the Black Widow only made it better. 2. Sarah Kinney. From Laura Kinney. Subject: Studies and Research. Hi Mom. I finally made a breakthrough in class earlier today, so no worries there. I've been doing really good with my bookwork, and now that I've figured out the problem I was having with my practical studies, I should be able to move on to more advanced training soon enough. I'm glad that my sisters are having at least some fun right now. I know all of this can't easy on them, but I have no idea how long it will be before I've learned enough to be able to get rid of our trigger scent programming. They actually allowed you to have access to all of the research notes from the facility? That's awesome. You're right, who knows what else they might have done to us, beyond just the trigger scent. Not that the trigger scent isn't bad enough on its own. Also, can you keep me up to date on what you find out about our healing factors? Don't worry, I'll keep you up to date. Love ya. Laura. 2. Laura Kinney. From Belladonna Kinney. Subject: Hi sis. Hi sis. I just wanted to thank you again for having Mom contact Natasha. We've all been able to sleep better at night knowing that she's around. She started giving us training when she has the free time, and I think she's way better than the people we used to have as trainers, or was that you used to? Okay, it's still kind of weird to know these memories aren't really ours. Paris doesn't seem to like the close quarters combat training as much as the rest of us do, but she's been learning a lot from Natasha's friend with the bow. We all know his name, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to mention it, so I won't. Not only is he Natasha's friend, he's also a really cool guy, if a bit sarcastic at times. A whole lot of boxes showed up a few days ago, with all kinds of papers and discs and stuff from the facility so that Mom can find out more about what they did to all of us. It's kind of scary to think that they might have done more than just the trigger scent. We have been wearing the filter masks like you suggested, even though the guy with the bow suggested we might want to try to see if we can train ourselves to resist it by getting exposed to small doses of it over time. Gabby popped her claws when he suggested that, and it's probably a good thing that Natasha was there to grab Gabby when he suggested that, cause I think she was going to pull a honey badger and emasculate him. Yeah, we've been spending some of our free time watching nature documentaries, after Mom mentioned how Dad got his codename. Little Gabby seemed to have latched onto the honey badger after watching some silly video online, and Mom has been on her for the last few days about using foul language. Don't ask. I'm not sure if I'm really interested in having a code name, and Paris seems to like her own name just fine. Zelda, on the other hand, has decided that she doesn't like being named after a princess that keeps on being mistaken for some blonde-haired guy. It's a video game thing, I think. Speaking of code names, what's your thought on the subject? Love ya. Belle. 2. Belladonna Kinney. From Laura Kinney. Subject: Hi sis. Hi Belle. I don't doubt that Natasha is better than any of the other people that have trained us in the past. She's in a class all of her own. Let Paris know that our friend with the bow is in the same class, and I don't know of anyone that could do a better job of teaching her how to use a bow than he could. As far as the memories go, the way I see it, they're as real for you as they are for me, and I'm sorry that all of you have to deal with all of the bad things I've been through. I figure you all have just as much of a claim to these memories as I do, for good or ill, and all we can do is try to make the best of our situation. I'm still nowhere near being able to get rid of our trigger sense yet, but I did manage to finally get past one of the problems I've been having that was holding me back in my training. Mom did tell me about getting all of the notes from the facility. I think it will be good for her to have something for her to do, and I think we all want to know if they had done anything else to us other than the trigger scent. And, oh goddess, honey badger. I know what video you're talking about, and I'm not sure if that's the kind of thing an 8-year-old should be watching, let alone quoting. Then again, this is an 8-year-old that has the same memories as the rest of us. Yeah, this whole mine/yours memory thing is kind of complicated. It should get easier as we all get older though, and we start having our own memories to call our own. I'm just glad the scientists figured out how to have you all respond to your own names, instead of mine. Could you imagine Mom calling my name, and having all of us respond at the same time? As far as code names go, I had enough of that with being called X23 for most of my life. It might be different if it was a code name I chose for myself though. Unfortunately most of the good ones have probably already been taken. Love ya. Laura. To Laura Kinney. From Natasha Romanoff. Subject, training. Hello, Laura. I don't know if it's because of their age, or their healing factors, but your sisters have been doing their best to run me ragged. On the other hand, they are quick studies, and they rarely if ever complain about the training I've been putting them through. You're keeping up with your own training, right? Wouldn't want your sisters to be disappointed when they finally get to meet their older sis, do we? Speaking of training, have you made any headway on learning how to get rid of mental programming like you had mentioned before? Natasha. To Natasha Romanoff. From Laura Kinney. Subject, training. Hi Natasha. Don't let my sisters run you too ragged. Then again, this might be good training for you as well, considering some of the crazy messes you end up in. Maybe Mom can figure out how to give you your own healing factor, so you can keep up with us Kinney girls. Thank you again for helping train them, and being there to help protect our mom, it really means a lot to all of us. Just to let you know I'm not spending my entire day reading books, they have me outside practicing every single morning. As far as the training goes, I made great headway today, but I'm still nowhere near close to being able to cure us yet. There is a lot that I need to learn first. Gotta start with the basics, after all. Laura. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.